Great to be here at the Historic Guildhall, seeing the progress that we're making on site. It's one of the few projects that we've really been able to progress at pace during this lockdown period. Obviously, the history and the significance of York is always opening new avenues and new things for us to explore. We were well aware of the history of the building above ground, dating back to the 15th century all the way up to Victoria, and it's been a very iterative process in building that. What we've actually now been able to uncover is that sort of layers of history don't just continue on the surface, they continue massively underground. And I'm standing here on the side of what appears to be the old Augustinian friary, and really being able to see some of the levels of history and the hundreds of years of York being sort of exposed and people being able to see. And I think it's fantastic that while we're able to preserve some of the above ground work, we'll also be able to preserve some of the underground work, and people will be able to get a much better view of what the city was like 600-700 years ago, and what those sort of histories and the buildings that were here previously.
Hi, I'm Tom from York Archaeological Trust. I'm a project supervisor, and I'm here working on behalf of the City York Council to do some archaeological monitoring at the site of the York Guildhall. On this site, it looks like we have had elements of the Augustinian friary and later buildings that have been reused from the material of that friary. Alongside that, we've had elements of a possible graveyard that's been heavily truncated by the North Annex building, but we seem to be on the periphery of that, and so carefully exposing them as we're going along. Okay. We also have one of our favourite finds off-site, again coming from some of the Roman deposits. It's this neatly well-preserved decorative possible hairpin. It's made completely of wood. Has been neatly carved into a very fine pin. And again, there would be a suggestion of potentially a high status individual using hairpins as such. One of the early phases of work that we've had off site is this really well preserved copper alloy stylus, or what we think is but a possible stylus. The decoration is indicative of potentially Roman, but because it was found in later deposits, I'll get the fine specialist to come and have a proper look at it.
So throughout the COVID period, and whilst the archaeological work has been going on more recently, we've been carrying on the south side of the site, where we previously demolished some of the structures and are rebuilding those. So what's going to be a new toilet area and cafe area. So that work's progressing nicely. The walls are coming out the ground now. We'll be putting the roof on soon. And then we've also been carrying on with some of the critical works to the tower, which is well known in the press with its crack. So we've been reforming the structural openings at the front, so that work is largely completed, and that's been going on whilst the archaeologists have been here. In terms of next phases on this part of the site, so from next week we'll be bringing in our piling mat material, levelling the site all the way across, and then we'll be able to put the piles down to the rock below, and then we'll be able to move on to the next phases of the foundations, and then late autumn we'll be able to start with the new steel structure that goes up.